because since we're talking about capitalism, maybe I can say a few words about Marxist political economy. Is that okay? One of the major contributions of Marx was to understand a contradiction. One might say an untruth at the very heart of the capitalist contract with the worker. It was always assumed that people get paid for the work that they do, right? And we say this to this very day. You know, if I make $10 an hour, say I get paid $10 for every hour I work. But as a matter of fact, as Marx pointed out, workers don't really get paid for the work that they do. They get paid for their capacity to work, for their ability to work. That is to say, they get paid what it costs to keep themselves alive in order to go to work. You see what I'm saying? And of course that's changed over time. Early on, it was basically just enough money to pay rent or buy food or whatever, but now of course you need enough to get your widescreen TV, and you need enough to get your telephone, and I forgot. I was going to use mine as a timer. And since we're talking about the fact that we need to earn enough money in order to have a cell phone, this might be a good time for people who do have cell phones to turn them off. But yes, the point that I'm making is that if the worker gets paid for his or her capacity to work, and then you subtract the value of what the worker produces during the day, or you subtract what it costs to sustain the worker, the capacity work, from the amount of work that the worker does, and you'll see that there's some extra money there. There's some extra value. Marx called it value. What Marx called it was surplus value. And that is the source of profit. That surplus value, the difference between what it costs to sustain a worker and what the worker actually produces. Now, Marx also called that exploitation. And what he argued was that exploitation wasn't really about, it's not a judgmental issue. It's not a judgment. It's not a value judgment. It is something that can be calculated. You can calculate the difference between what the worker is paid and what the worker produces, and you can come up with the rate of exploitation. And that is, in essence, what the whole capitalist system is all about. Trying to increase that surplus value so that the capitalists, who really don't do anything, they're able to reap these profits only because they have capital in the first place. And because the worker has nothing to sell but her or his own labor power. And Marx also pointed out that capital, that what he called the primitive capital, had to come from somewhere. It didn't just appear. The Rockefellers didn't just, somehow catch money that was falling from the skies. And he discovered that this original capital comes from very violent exploitation, violent encounters. It comes from slavery, for example. It comes from colonization. It comes from all of these historical modes of violence inflicted on indigenous people all over the world.